Welcome to World Stage. I am Anilesh Kumar. The demand for a separate Sikh land, Khalistan, has intensified. Today, we saw a huge protest in London, which attracted thousands of people from different parts of the world to voice their discontent towards the Indian government or the so-called oppression of the Indian government. They demand a separate land for Sikhs. The question is, how legitimate is the demand? My guest today has come all the way from Canada to London. He is the organizer of the event and the director for an organization called Sikhs for Justice. The question is, why a separate land for Sikhs? Jitendra, welcome to Democracy News.
Thank you.
So, why do you need a separate land?
Well, because we, the Sikh people of Punjab, are not getting our justice or security or even a bright future within the Indian Union. Now, we wanted to resolve this issue within the Indian Union, but from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, when we tried to address this issue, no resolution was put forward. But alternatively, the Indians called us a threat to the Indian Union and then legitimized the killing of our people through the attack on Akal Takht and the genocide of 1984. So since then, we realized that there is no solution for us within the Indian Union. The only solution for us is independence, where we can freely decide our own future, our own way of living, and make sure that we can protect our own.
But the counter argument is the people of Punjab, do you think that they are not deciding their own fate by themselves because they are living in a democracy where they are voting for their own representatives? Why do you have a problem with that?
Well, what's actually happening in India is what's called a false choice. Now, before I explain that argument, I just want the Indians that are watching this to look at your own history. In 1935, the British allowed India to hold elections. And in those elections, people, voted for their representatives, and then they had representation. The British said, well, this is freedom. This is democracy. Why do you want to separate from us? And the leaders of that time said, this is not freedom. Within your union or within your governance, we cannot really express our opinion. We voted, yes, but it's not freedom until you leave our lands. Now, that being said, in regards to your argument that, well, hey, people are voting today, there's elections there today. Yes, but the peoples have a false choice. If I was to say to you, do you want me to, hit you with a stick, punch you, or slap you, you will then calculate what is the least damaging thing to me. And based on that, you may say, you know what, slap me. And if I was to say to the world, look, he voted for a slap, I have a right to slap him, they'll say, no, I wasn't giving it any other option. The only option was these three, and out of them, this is the least damaging from my opinion, so I picked it. That's what the Sikh people are saying. Within the Indian Union, all the political parties are the least damaging is what people vote for, based on that.
So the counter argument is that now here is a country which has given the people the rights to vote and the rights to be represented by whoever they want to. You sound like somebody who is looking for some kind of utopian world where everything would be absolutely perfect. So I am giving you an opportunity to present your manifesto as to what kind of land are you looking for, Jitendra?
Well, here's a question. If the British had turned this around on the Indians back in 1940s and said, can you guarantee us that you're not looking for a utopia and you'll have a perfect land? And I'm sure they would have said, no, we'll work for a great country. What would they have found?
But there's a difference. There's a difference between British Raj and there's a difference between the government of India, which has been chosen by the people, and its democracy. We can't. Can you be realistic? Can we really compare?
I want to make an important point. First, from the Punjabis' perspective, the Delhi Raj is a foreign occupation, and we want to be clear from you. We respect you, and we may have similar skin tone. Short of that, there's a lot of differences between us. Just because we may share the similar skin tone, we are not Indian, or we're not from Delhi, and we're, the Tamils of the south, they have a right to independence. The Gujaratis have a right if they want to exercise it. The Assamese, the Kashmiris. Just because we may be different shades of brown doesn't mean we're one people. There are foreigners occupying Punjab from our perspective.
Then when you organize a protest here in London, right, it raises a very important question. Do we need water?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So it raises an important question: why a foreign land, and that to London? And then you have people like Lord Nazir Ahmed sharing a platform, who has a checkered history, who has a questionable past. Would it not raise serious questions about your own movement?
Well, first of all, we would do this in Punjab, but if Punjab was a free society. Today, if a young student puts on a sticker on the wall saying Referendum 2020, he gets a charge waging war against India. This is a charge that was discussed in your news. This is absurd. Why can you do that? He said no. Social media promotion of Referendum 2020 is the equivalent to waging war against India. So the Indians are suppressing the voice in Punjab, and then they ask why we do it abroad. Well, clearly because we have freedoms abroad. Now your questions to speakers on the stage, look, we are willing to work with anybody who is willing to assist us in our independence. Now, if we talk...
No, but Jitendra, sorry to cut you off. One would ask a serious question. Considering the kind of people you invited today, and you came all the way from Canada, Toronto, to unify people for your own cause, right? Anybody watching your show today would have serious concerns with the kind of people you invited today, because that gives a glimpse of what you're looking for. You are not looking for a solution, but you are looking for people who are fringe elements to share stage with you and create further problems.
I think this argument needs to be more looked at intensely. Who is to define who is fringe? But what I would say to you in an alternative view is, you say if you allow people on stage that have shady past or something, it may, delegitimize some of the things that you're saying. Well, then what do you say about Modi? From our perspective, Modi is responsible for the genocide of Muslims in Gujarat. UN, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, various organizations have detailed how Modi gave the call that, we will make a shutdown in the state of Gujarat after the killing on the bus or on the train, whatever that incident was, that we will shut down the state, where they knew that this is going to lead to violence, because as a worker, he knew when there's ever a shutdown, it was then followed by violence. His actions were so dire that the US didn't allow him into America. Canada didn't allow him into Canada. Now, as a head of state, he is, immune from these laws and hence allowed. But if we want to speak and say, hey, these shady people, they don't speak well for your cause, your country, there's not a lot of positive things that people can say if this is how we judge people.
My question to you is again, when you say a separate land, where do you see the people of Punjab in that? I mean, the people who are already a part of India, and I'm sure you would agree that there are people who would like to be a part of India, right?
Yeah.
So, A, what makes you think that the whole of Punjab wants to be with you? And B, where do you see the people who want to be with India in your set of place that you are imagining?
Well, so again, we think the people of Punjab should vote. If you want to vote no, that's your prerogative. You have a right to do it. If you want to vote yes, great. That's what democracy is, freedom of choice. I accept there's a small fringe of people who do want to live with the Indian Union. I'm not saying here there's 100% consensus.
What could be the percentage of that allegedly fringe people who want to be with India?
I would say 15%. 15%, and these are the people who have either A, participated in war crimes and crimes against humanity for the Indian Union, and today are scared that in an independent Khalistan they would be charged and persecuted, or B, the people that are benefiting directly from this situation or the status quo. They could be the elected officials, i.e., Badal and Parwar, Captain and Parwar, and even people in these countries who have businesses that are, through corruption and other alternative means are benefiting. So there are people that I accept will say it, but I will say there's minimum 85, I would say, percent to 70%, let's just say, in between that number, that would vote for independence.
Okay, so let's clarify this argument before we go further. You are saying that nearly 20% of the people out of the whole population of Punjab would like to remain in India, while 80% would like to go out. And all those who want to remain is because of some kind of problems, some kind of questionable past. Are you saying that?
So now, again, this is me, making assumptions based on...
This is the problem, Jitendra.
No, right.
If you make random assumptions, the people who are watching this interview would question it.
Yeah. So I want to say, look, I agree. Nobody knows. So why don't we hold a referendum? If you say, Jitendra, can you guarantee 80% or 90%? I'm saying, listen, I can assume based on my own non-scientific polling, where I meet people from Punjab who come and say, out of the 10 people I meet, 8 said they wanted it, 2 said they didn't, so I assume based on those numbers, it would be an 80-20 split. Fine, let's put that aside. Why don't we just hold a referendum? Why don't we just ask the people ourselves and say, look, what do you guys want? Why is that such a hard thing? I don't understand why the very people who say, listen, Punjab will never want independence, Punjabis are happy in Punjab, there's no issues, are the very people who say, but we will never allow a referendum. That's not logical, because everybody knows As the years go by, the Khalistan issue is becoming more and more pressing. Louder and louder, the voices are becoming from around the globe. And it's come to the point where India is today damaging international relationships because of Khalistan. They damaged it with the Canadians, they're damaging it now with the British, and it's not a benefit to India.
There's one more question, which is about the involvement of the people. A lot of people believe that these kind of events are sponsored by some of the people from Pakistan.
Yeah.
How true is that? What is your response to that?
So this is why, and I was talking to somebody else, people will not be, the Indians, will not be able to stop this movement because they don't understand where it's coming from. They don't realize that when you're a slave, you're willing to give up your house for freedom. You're willing to give up your, everything, your life for freedom. So for someone to give 5,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, $100, $2, whatever they can afford, it's a privilege. As slaves, we are willing to do what it takes to be free. As free people, as Indians who have conquered or are ruling over India, you don't get it. It's a salary job. Many of the ministries are like, yeah, I'm working 9 to 5, I go home, my job is done. We sleep thinking about independence. We wake up thinking about independence. People have come by bus, by plane, by walking, all in the hopes of getting freedom. You will not get it.
So it has nothing to do with Pakistan.
So I want to be clearly, no Pakistan government is funding us. Yes, Sikhs in Pakistan are supporting this. To say that no Pakistani is doing this, that's not true. There's Sikhs in Punjab, in Pakistan that support this. And there's people of Muslim heritage that for their own interests may also support this, or for the kindness of their own heart, they may support this. But we are not being funded by any ISI. The people love this idea. The Sikhs all over the world are funding us, and we are overwhelmed with support. And even if you look today, what we saw today, right now, the organizers are walking around. Everybody wants to take a picture with them.
Okay, well, that does not prove anything, by the way. We're living in a world of selfies and photographs, but let's not make it a valid reason for something. My question to you is, say tomorrow the government of India, hypothetical situation, allows you to create a state, as we have seen in the past. There have been states which have been created in the past. Would you like to then stay in the Indian Union, or even in that case, would you like to stay out?
No. To be honest, at this point, we will not accept internal self-determination within the Indian Union. Prior to 1984, we would have. We were looking for that very solution. But once the guns that are used to protect the people are turned on the people, those people will never trust that state again. So no, we will not want to live within the Indian Union under any circumstances. Yes, as free people, we can get into a EU type scenario where we can work together and we can cooperate, but we want to be an independent country with our own standing army, our own judiciary, our own police, our own ministries, reflecting our own will and our own desires.
Last question. Any regrets about the event today? Because you invited some of the controversial people.
Look, I want to be very clear with you. People that are controversial for you may not be controversial for us, and people that are controversial for us, like Modi, KP Gill, Sumedh Saini, Kamal Nath, may not be controversial for you. To judge based on your lens of our event, and for us to judge you based on our lens, well, that's okay, that's your right to do. But for us, we have no regrets, and we thank everyone who participated, and we encourage others, irrespective of how India labels you, to come join the movement for independence, for Punjab, for Kashmir, and for any people who want to be free of the Indian Union.
Thank you, Jitendra Singh. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.